So turn down the lights, lock the door. It's time for DJs After Dark.
Berlin, 1942. Allied forces are coming across for the American front.
Yeah, well, what the hell?
What are we talking about?
I was waiting for you, Dan.
All of a sudden,
Newsline on DJB Production Network. What we're talking about, gang, as we're having fun in the studio, is old-time announcing.
thank God, I thought you were from the movie 1917 there, Frank.
Yeah.
This is the DJB Production Network. DJB Productions, this is DJs After Dark. My name is Danny J, along with Dr. Rock Ray Thomas.
Hi, the legendary Dr. Rock. Great to talk to you guys this morning.
DJ Rob Cannon.
Thank you. It's good that we were able to renew Ray's contract.
I'm glad we got the
Yeah.
contract issues
I'm
worked out.
very happy we did that.
We
And
dropped
then-
the sexual shit, too.
And then coming out of South Kakalaki, we got DJ Matt Summer.
There he is.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm looking like shit because my webcam decided to take a shit at some point since the last time we
He
met.
sounds like Winston Churchill.
This was their
We're gonna
finest
have to
hour.
today because this show is going to be about old time announcing in comparison to new ones. I mean, as DJs, we learn how to project our personalities, project our voices, speak clearly, enunciate, and it was a lot more professional back in the day than it is now.
I think it went to 2 different changes and then today. Like,
It's true, and we'll go over that because I
the
think
first
you're
one was
absolutely
the one
right.
you were doing. The second one's like, and now we're back. And
Yeah, it was like an over the top,
Right.
Hey,
which is where
hey,
Dr.
cool
Rock was
cats
making
and
it clear.
groovy girls.
When I went to school at American Academy of Broadcasting, and I was
then
taught by John Wade.
Yeah.
And it was, hi, you belong, John. What's up? Yeah.
And we all learned that. I mean, I started DJing on the radio. You know, that's where I trained, was actually on radio. So you get that radio voice. Hey, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. That, it's a lost art. It really is a lost art. DJs today, especially mobile DJs, they don't really speak like that. A lot of times,
Or
just,
they don't
How do you spell
speak at all.
Lizzo?
you know, how do you spell Lizzo?
L.
Here's another great song, everybody.
This is for
Yeah.
Kobe.
Yeah, this is
Um,
for Kobe, right? So yeah, definitely, it's changed. And the thing that comes out, and if you ever want to really see a good version of this, watch the movie Private Parts from Howard Stern.
I did.
When he is doing his flashbacks in the beginning,
Right.
and he's as a child, and he's at the broadcast studio,
Yes.
and his father gets on. 70 Sid, get on and continue this broadcast. Like when you hear him talk.
Right.
And this kind of capitalized what you just said. You hear him speak
Right.
as this old time announcer, and then Symphony Sid gets on. He goes, "Hey, this is Symphony Sid," and he gets his personality on there.
Mhm.
That's completely different from that maintaining the broadcast format, type of thing. And you see 2 different versions of a disc jockey at that point.
It's like that with acting too.
It is like that with acting.
I love it when women do the old time radio voices. Like I grew up with people like Michelle Yaya in one of my classes and all. And she was like, when a woman does that DJ voice, it becomes like, hi, very sexy.
We
is
don't
me.
have it. We don't have enough females in the business.
We don't have
don't
enough
at all.
female
We really
girls, let's do this thing.
And
Become DJs.
let me tell you something. It really, when a woman has a great voice,
Oh my God.
it's gold.
Right.
It's you're printing
Yeah.
money with that. Right or wrong. I mean, it's the truth. I had a cousin who used to do some work for us. Did some voiceovers. Dirty Diana. She did some
Yeah.
voiceovers for us and stuff like that. And we were going to have her DJ, but she wasn't cut to be a DJ because she didn't like certain music and she wouldn't play places that.
Was that the
later.
one that didn't want to work in Smoky?
She didn't want to work in smoky areas. I'm like, well, you can't work in any bar at all, that type of thing.
Back then.
But she did.
Now
She
the
did some
bars aren't.
voiceovers for us and stuff like that, and she had the ability to work on a sex line. That's the kind of voice she had, and she did some sexy voiceovers for me and stuff like that, and that I play to this day. And that was years ago. She did that, and it was a thing where it's like, and Diana's a nice looking woman too.
Mhm.
Really, so to have that sexy voice and be good looking at the same time,
Right.
it's like, oh my God, right? And then our good friend Noelle, who used to DJ for us, she's no longer in the neighborhood, or she's in Florida, actually. That's a pretty far neighborhood. But Here's another one. Extremely beautiful woman. Great voice. Very trainable too. Was willing to work anywhere, which is really good too. And it's once again, it's a lost art.
Yes, it is.
When you have somebody that can actually talk, has a voice that's okay to listen to, because it's one thing you can talk in a professional manner, but if your voice is just bad,
if you just have a bad tone to your voice,
right?
Yeah,
like yours. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like mine.
Yeah, like yours. Like yours. Matt,
you got
Matt's voice. Matt is. It's one of those things where Matt can be specialized, because Matt's voice, once again, though, doesn't cover the full range, but it covers this. Right. You know what I mean? And that's where Matt's niche can be. And a lot of that's rock. A lot of that is Matt could probably do radio just in general, but not. Yeah. But Matt wouldn't be that broadcast Symphony Sid guy.
Yeah, no. I'm evening or afternoon drive, maybe kind of a guy, but I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not a morning show. I'm definitely, I'm not going to fall into your John DeBella, Pierre Robert, just to talk about the modern guys.
We can use real names. Cool. I'm ready today.
You know what I mean? But it's true. And you listen to rock. You listen to Matt. And I've heard Matt live and stuff like that, and he's right. He's like an afternoon drive guy. He's that fun buddy who's got a lot to give you.
He's like Dan's Harvey Weinstein.
You know what I mean? But then
I am definitely not Harvey Weinstein.
Oh my God!
How badly do you want this part, Matthew?
Now,
how bad do you want to hear that song?
Right,
Matt's kind of a how do you say this?
A good friend of yours?
Well, yeah, he's a good friend.
Good.
But Matt is kind of like I don't want to say a dry sense of humor, but Matt's he's not an outlandish sense of humor.
Right.
If that makes sense. Like, I'm outlandish. I can do and I can do all
my wife said that
stuff.
She goes, Danny's outlandish. Yes. I don't know what this is.
Dan is a living cartoon.
Yeah.
Dan is a living cartoon.
But Matt's not. So Matt, like he said, could be afternoon drive, stuff like that. I've done morning shows for us. I've done morning shows for
UPS.
Yeah. And
every morning, everybody at UPS.
Entertainment Radio.
Remember, we did Canada Entertainment Radio. I was the morning drive guy. And it's a mindset. And I think if Matt had that type of mindset, that he consistently just let it flow out,
right?
Probably could,
right?
Get away with it. Because I think that has something to do with it too. Would you agree, Matt? Like,
yeah. I mean, it's
one thing, but if I can overcompensate with this to make up for that.
Exactly. It's one of those things where, again, you have to have a particular personality, and while you have. There's plenty of morning shows. I mean, every radio station across this country has some sort of morning show crew.
But
all right,
all of them are.
Then you have the ones that stand out.
Very mild.
You have the ones that it's so ingrained in their personality. That is just their personality. It's where you get the Preston and Steves, you get the Howard Sterns. Yeah. Down here in South Carolina, the one thing I say, if anybody ever asks me about what I miss about being up there in Pennsylvania.
Matt, what do you miss about being up here in Pennsylvania?
Funny you should ask, right? But one of the things I talk about is really the radio. I mean, we've got some stations down here that have some really good variety, but none of the DJs down here really spark to make me say, oh, you got to listen to these guys.
Yeah.
There are some that I sit there and listen to and going like, okay, these guys, it's like, okay, you guys must have been dragging the bottom of the pool for this. And there's others like, okay, they're kind of funny, but there's nobody I've heard down here what I would talk to you guys and say, hey, guess what? This radio station, they do a live stream or they do a podcast. Check out the morning show. I'll tell everybody and their mother down here about Preston and Steve.
Well,
you want to hear a funny morning show? Listen to these guys. That's the way they are.
I'll refer you to iHeartRadio. So this way you can always listen to something, because I listen to 102.9 on there when I don't have access to a radio itself. So I do it through my phone, and iHeartRadio gives me a lot of stuff. But to put a point to what you're saying and a point to what you're saying, like 95.7,
right?
That I forget the guy's name. He's a good DJ. He's a good DJ in the morning. I forget the guy's name. He had a sidekick, and that side, you know how sidekicks get.
Yes.
They get rid of them real quick and blah, blah, blah. But very mild guy. You know, like he's nice, cheery, kind of like 92.5. Now on 92.5 was like, oh, we're the neighbor next door that has the cake.
Yes.
To come visit
Apple
you.
pie, the whole bit.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it kind of was like that, where it's just like, oh, he's just a very cheerful guy to listen to in the morning. He's a very nice guy, you know, versus like a Preston and Steve where they're like doing crazy outlandish stuff. Howard Stern, all the stuff that Stern did over the years, you know what I mean? That type of thing. But then on iHeartRadio, I jumped over to a Delaware station, right? Which is only, 30 minutes from us, you know, where I'm at, but it's a different state. And their morning show was a country formatted station. And they had a guy on there named Bobby Bones.
Oh, I knew Bobby Bones. He's on American Idol. He's a big time movie musical producer. Oh, yeah.
No, that's a young kid, Bobby Bones.
No,
if you listen to what I'm talking about, this guy is Bobby Bones on, I forget the station.
Well, Bobby Bones is going to have a lawsuit.
I'm sure there's a Bobby Bones, but this is a young kid. Young voice.
Because he sounds it. Yeah, he sounds it, and he's very, very energetic and upbeat.
Unless it's the same guy, and I don't realize it sounds like a young guy, but it's a country station.
Yep.
And it's like, and they're like Bobby Bones, you know, and he has this big. It's a country station. We can look him up. We'll look him up after the thing, but that guy was in between because it was a country station. He had a full gang of people around him, stuff like that. Like when I did my morning show, I would have loved to have had this because this is. We can play off of stuff and then put music on, and play off of this stuff and put music on.
Still no food here.
You know.
I just gave you lobster for breakfast.
Sorry.
Now, another person, he's not on today because of technical difficulties with his body, but Chris Eddie C, he's another one that's really good for radio.
Yeah.
He really, really is. When he did Electric FM, which was a online streaming service station, and we did the shows with him, Rob and I. Ed really had a good drive with that.
Yeah, but now he's going ape shit with Big Stapo Rub doing something this morning.
I think the producers loved us more than Ed.
They were just mad because Ed wouldn't get on the casting couch.
Yes.
Lay down.
See, I remember back in my days, I emulated myself from like Dr. Don Rose from WFIL and stuff like that.
And he was on the TV.
Right.
Doing
and
that's what it was.
And just being, I don't know if I'd call it a generation, but maybe it's a generation below you guys. But like, I had the motor mouth.
I knew Dan Foley.
Yeah. So
Terry Young.
Yeah. So like, because I grew up listening to Eagle 106.
He was John Lander.
Yeah, he was on. Yeah.
Patty Drew and John Lander.
But I had those guys to kind of emulate, which were. And I had John DeBella, obviously, and I had Howard Stern. So I had these outlandish guys saying funny
Paul
stuff.
Barsky.
Don Imus.
Paul Barsky.
And
Barsky in the morning.
Yeah. Now he does something else. He's on my Facebook.
And it was one of those things where that's where I grew up listening to. And a funny story is getting into DJing and radio back in the 80s when cable was kind of like in its infancy.
Right.
And people generally just watched one station. We were in that mentality, like whatever was on that station, that's what we're watching. We didn't change the channel that much.
Well, don't you remember when your parents used to go, the one thing's got to stay on channel 4, and the other thing's got to stay on 3, and then you got to hit the cable bot, but it was fun.
Switch.
Or you watch the Playboy channel going, sorry, ladies, it's a tit. And it wasn't. It was an elbow.
It was an elbow, yes.
It was an elbow.
And you focus it up, it was the sound. You focus it down, it was the picture.
It was like,
listen to that. Speaking
but
focusing.
But wait a minute, I'm going to finish my statement. So I used to watch Facts of Life.
Right.
Everybody knows Facts of Life with Natalie and
see,
Blair
if Eddie was
and
on,
Joe
the theme would be playing now.
Right. And yeah, it would be. And then I have to tell them to shut it off real quick before we get blocked.
Sued.
Facts of Life is where Dan learned the Facts of Life.
Lisa Weichel. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The thing is, though, on there was towards their latter episodes, and they were still. I think they were still. It was at the last part. You know how they switched from the school to living in a house because they were now graduating and stuff like that.
To puberty with shots.
When they were in the school, but it was towards the end of school, they were going to college. And I remember they were going to, quote unquote, Langley College.
Yeah, she did.
And Joe was a DJ on the Langley College radio station.
Right.
And there was a couple episodes about that. I just thought it was really, I would watch it. And back then, radio was much more prominent of a thing than it was today. Like today, everybody listens
Now
to
she
radio.
could be a professional welder.
I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, but like everybody today listens to the radio in their car for the most part. Okay. And then they get during the day or whatever, but they're mostly listening to radio in the car. Whereas back in the day, because there wasn't as much stuff on television, we reverted to radio for a lot of stuff. We had our Walkmans, we had our Sony Walkmans, we had
transistor radios.
My father used to get me
portable
tons.
8-tracks.
Thank you, Pep Boys.
Portable 8-tracks.
When I was a kid, you're sitting in your room playing Atari, and you've got the radio on.
That's right.
Because there was no high def audio, there was no dialogue or anything. No. It's literally blips and boop, the boom. So you don't worry about what the sound coming out of the TV is. So you got the radio going because the sound out of the TV is boring as hell.
And
radio we just got Matt making an imitation of an Atari game. And
you have to understand though too. And everybody says their generation was better. Everybody says that, but in our generation, I think we're one of the last ones. Matt and mine generation.
Yeah,
we had true top 40 radio.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And
we've talked about this several times, and it's one station. It's everywhere.
Else, it went away when the market split up, and they said, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we just have an all rap station? Why don't we have an all country station? Why don't we have an all rock station?" And
see, I think that's what's missing in radio today.
It messed everything up because you know why? People don't have a general knowledge of music.
No, anymore. They do not. Not unless they look it up.
No, they don't. And in most cases, they're in. I mean, I worked with a kid, young African American kid, had no idea who Led Zeppelin was.
Right.
Never heard the name.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you have to know everybody, but Led Zeppelin, pioneers in music.
They were good, but I'll say that now. They weren't the best band in the 70s. That'll be a later show.
No, but they were pioneers.
Everybody knew who they were.
Everybody knew who they were. It was common knowledge, just like Hulk Hogan. Right. Everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is, even if you didn't watch wrestling. You knew who Hulk Hogan was.
Like Dan knew who.
Yeah, right.
I knew.
Dan got tickets to go see Hanson, and he was the only one that knew.
I had to sit in with the band.
Right, right. Dan was doing bop and boxer shorts, but
I would have been on stage, but your son Jay beat me to it.
Hey, you're not going to get a I asked him about this show.
That's why he does acoustic shows now.
Right now, he does them all. Yeah,
he does all three of the Hanson boys. Good for Jay. Now Jay's got a lovely fiance, right?
She's gorgeous.
Yeah, she is gorgeous. She's nice looking. Well, Jay's a nice looking kid.
Yeah,
take that kid in a quarter. Don't sign him up with the Boy Scouts.
You wonder why sometimes I'm with this show and then sometimes I'm not here. That's why. That's typically why.
But anyway, but I digress. But no, we literally had true top 40 radio where you can listen to Sheena Easton, Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Prince, Michael Jackson, all in the same station.
All kidding aside,
you can't.
Genesis, Phil Collins.
It
was Stevie Wonder, followed by Duran Duran, followed by Eddie Rabbit. And you're like,
you knew everybody, and you could pick and choose. Like we all, honestly, how about it, Matt? We all listened to.
You named it.
Like we all listened to country because it was always on.
Yeah.
It's for granted in a sense.
Not a lot of it.
What did we watch? We watched Barbara Mandrell's show.
Yeah.
Didn't you watch that when you were younger?
My dad grew up when we grew up with WEEZ. Remember Wheeze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like country to pull that out as an example was always there. Yeah. It's like you heard that when 92.5 came into the market and it was like, oh man, a South Philly rock and roller. I like country music. Dude, I always liked country music. I just didn't realize I did. Yeah. And you know what I mean? I took it for granted.
Because it was top because again, it was top 40. You heard everything. You heard everything. You didn't worry about labels. It was either a good artist and a good song,
and you either liked
it wasn't.
I liked songs, just like you were saying. I liked songs. I liked music. I did not like rap. I did not like country. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing. We liked songs.
You like songs.
Everybody was on an individual basis. I do not like Pat Benatar. I do like Cyndi Lauper, and that's what you did. It didn't matter what genre of music they were playing.
Yeah,
because I could.
That's why
I played with Pat Benatar if he wanted, or whatever the case was. It didn't matter, But going along with that, the announcers had to become rock stars themselves.
Yeah, they became personalities.
If you listen to AM radio, especially like 1060 or something like that, like the news radio, I even put it on real quick, and for the most part, they
You're
have
only
that
going to hear
all-time
news
that sound,
most of the
Yeah,
time.
they do.
but not everybody sounds that way.
No.
No.
If you notice that too, even reading the news, there's a little bit of personality.
Or
in
when
it.
they go into the
Oh,
traffic, the traffic report.
Yeah, traffic
That
guy
person-
needs to make his mark. The traffic guy.
Yeah.
That's
It's
his
like,
guy.
and on the Google, it's blah, blah, blah.
Oh, in California, they're famous. I took the I-10 to the I-10.
For WDAS,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Cracker Johnson. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like,
I went up from dinner the other night and I said, I'm Ray Thomas. I'm leaving. Take care. All right, it was nuts. All right.
But that's the funny thing was too. Whenever you heard a traffic person, and you always had a traffic person probably on for 6 months, and then they would leave. You know what I mean? Because they would go to another market. Because traffic people were like underwear. They just got rid of them and got new ones and so on and so forth.
Boring.
And because they only had that, it was like the 15 minutes of fame in a sense. They had to really like put it out there who they were.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it's literally like a 30-second blurb. It's a 30-second blurb telling you what it's looking like, and then boom, out. Because there's no story. It's this is
what are we on now? It's like that's what it was,
Listen, did you hear me? Did you hear me?
Did you hear what I said? I said it's Google. It's like but that's the kind of thing. Now you listen to mobile DJs like us. Listen to Rob. Rob was my mentor, and stuff like that. You listen how we speak, and why we know each other 35 years.
Did you have Al Young? You don't know how to project yourself into the microphone.
No, I never had that problem.
Yes, and let's talk about that too. There's that whole difference of projecting.
Yeah, that projecting thing.
I don't have a problem with projecting at all.
There's yelling into the microphone, and then there's projecting into the microphone.
But if you listen to Rob when he speaks, he has DJ voice.
Yes, he does.
I don't know. How do I do that, Dan? Tell me, please.
And people will come up to me when I talk and they'll say, "Hey,
return now for the news on the DJV production
DJ
network."
Well, it's like Lauren's friend's wedding. Remember when I did that?
Yes.
And I told you, Lauren said, "Dad, you sounded like you were announcing like Barney." And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's
Because
thank God you didn't go, I love you, you love
and now,
me.
ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our bride and groom, Rachel.
Right, which is our thing.
Right, or what am I supposed to say? Now, folks, check it out. Rachel, our bride, and her husband.
You do like your daughter Renee, be like, "Hey, giggity, giggity,
Giggity.
giggity, giggity."
I mean, that's what I think my daughter
Look at you whack.
and she want me to say, "Yo, everybody, put your hands
She
together."
does not understand.
No.
She does not understand. I'm teaching my daughter because I said, hopefully you'll take over when I want to like sit at home and do nothing. And
now I know why when we watch the show in the beginning it says lock the doors. I now know why. Go ahead.
lock the doors.
All right, yeah.
Lock the doors.
Lock
everybody.
the doors.
But the thing is, and that type of announcing can go back to television when you go
yes,
into
it does.
game shows.
Yeah.
Game show hosts.
Old
and you
soap
did game shows.
operas.
Old soap operas, right? Or how about the old soap operas where they had the live announcement, which was more so radio,
It was.
but
Where they would sell like a detergent in the
or
middle of
something.
it.
If it was a live announcement on the radio, make sure
Do
you go.
you guys use Ramsey's? I mean, forget. I'm sorry. We got off on a tangent.
Are you dirty? You're squeaky clean. Squeaky clean is made of the best ingredients. Blah, blah, blah.
This is getting weird.
Stuff like that. But it's just amazing. And granted, there's going to be people out there that be like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
We never do.
And half the time we don't either. But the thing is, we make it sound like we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all about CBD oil now.
But you know what? The thing is, though, is it changed and evolved so much. I think now, would you say, if you lose yourself, and Matt's really into DJs. That's something. Matt's always.
Matt, I wouldn't say that legally.
Matt's
though.
really
into DJs.
More so than Ed.
Yo, Matt, the DJ.
Yeah.
Matt, I want you to meet my friend Dan.
And what I mean by that, though, is that Matt really. Like a lot of times when I listen to radio, I can get two fucking shits who's saying what on the thing. I just want to hear music or whatever. Matt's really into, oh, I like so and so, and I like his show, and I like this,
Mhm.
and he gets.
And
got
Dan's
really
got money,
into it.
Matt. So
And
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He's got 2 kids. He ain't got no money.
I got 2 kids, and they're teenagers.
And
But the
allowance.
screaming
And
now,
I
is
like
it
that.
over yet?
so, but the thing was, you made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry, Mega.
The thing was,
Since when do we stay on the
Is
train of
that-
thought?
when you're listening to a DJ and you get lost in it, you almost like in chime in on this, Matt, if you can, like you almost like that person, like you and I
Yeah.
know each other. You get
Exactly.
comfortable with that person.
Yes, you do.
And that's the way DJing is now, because the personality is allowed to come out. I would never connect with someone that's like, Berlin, 1942, Allied forces. I would never be able to do
someone that talks like that on the radio. How do you think they talk normal?
It would
that.
be
Right.
I mean,
Right.
they probably sort of talk like that.
I picture Ted Knight the whole time.
Yeah.
I picture-
With Cosmic Cow.
Deep inside the Justice League,
Georgianne, get my car key.
Monroe.
Monroe. Look up Ted Knight.
Dan is going to the doctors this week because he's got a fetish for Winston Churchill, but he's
figure it out.
working on
He
it.
doesn't go Winston Churchill.
He's working on it.
Matt could have been on that show, The Queen.
No, he couldn't have.
But
No.
the thing is, like,
Dan's the fact Matt could have been on the show Flipper. Dan's got such
but
an
coming down,
infatuation
but
today.
honestly, coming down into it, though, the scenario is that it's changed so much, and I think DJs now have become, dare I say, probably more personable. More, you see more of them,
Right.
and potentially you're seeing who they are versus
And-
who they're supposed to be.
They're
Are you
more
saying
natural.
Exactly? Rob just hit it. They're more natural.
Yeah.
They're it's not. They're not as afraid to screw up on the air.
right?
You
Right,
know.
because they know they'll be
You know,
expected.
If you flub something, you can just go with it. Be self-deprecating and
Up here is Jackie Bam Bam. I don't like him.
yeah.
I don't like him,
either.
but what you hear is what you get.
Right.
That's who
Yeah.
Jackie Bam Bam is what you hear on
Yeah.
the radio, on MMR. And as an example, so it's a funny thing. Go back and listen. If you go on YouTube or whatever, go back and listen to old commercials.
Yeah.
And you'll hear exactly what we're talking about. Go back and listen to, you might be able to get old broadcasts of stuff.
No, I do. I listen to
Yeah, there's,
old news check, old
Yes,
air
okay.
checks.
Yeah.
They were called air checks back in the day.
Yes.
Brotherly love at 7:05, and this is Bachman Turner Overdrive
Yeah.
or something. Yeah. So
And that's the thing too. When radio back then, it was one of those things where it was just I'm chiming in to bring into the next set, bring
Right.
into the next song. You're not really going to get much out of me unless I'm promoting something,
Right.
or I'm telling you what the song is.
But that's what
So
WFIL
I'm not getting to
was
know-
good at. They made
I'm not
you,
getting to know you, Rob
Right.
Cannon. You're just my guide
Right.
at
Right.
that point. Versus now we're getting to know them, and I think that's the sell of the show is saying, oh well, I'm not, everybody can play music, but
Right.
why should I listen to you? Oh, because you're cool versus he's not, whatever
Right.
the case would be, and that's what it
Exactly.
comes down to.
Yeah.
So I implore everybody, go in there, check it out. It's a lot of fun. You'll see a lot of different stuff. I think the old commercials is the best way to go. With something.
One of the things you can look up, and only because of the fact I'm familiar with the show, because I had gotten cassettes of them from my grandmother years ago. A good one to look up is Baby Snooks. Yeah, there's actually I didn't have a chance to actually watch any of them, but there's videos of them on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was Fanny Bryce,
yes.
but it's a perfect. It was probably one of the best known of the old radio shows, and you'll get a good idea of what we're talking about. Because again, because it's not only commercials running with it,
Right.
but then there's that narrator doing that recap.
Right. And
So it'll be a live read commercial. Then and now back to the wherever
And if you get a chance, try and listen to, if you can stream any of them, any kind of old radio soap operas.
Yeah.
Or radio,
Or just old soap operas.
like I know 106 or 98.1, I think at one point when I was a kid, as a special, because it was some kind of anniversary or something like that, ran a radio play.
Okay.
And it was like a mystery murder type of thing. And when I tell you, when you close your eyes and you're hearing this narration, you're like, wow, this is spooky. Wow, this is scary, you know, and that type of thing. And you forget the power of just audio. You really, really do. Matt, what a great show. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button down below. Make sure you're sharing the channel. Make sure you're hitting the notification bell. And also leave a comment. You know, let us know. If you have any links out there, put them in the comments down below. We would always love to check it out.
That's the one thing that we will say, and I know we've mentioned it before, Dan, you've hit on it. Comment. Please comment. Yes. If there's something you want us to talk about, something you'd like to know, even if you have ideas, as ridiculous as they might be, as to what might make the show better. We put this content out there because, A, we have fun with it.
We do.
I think we'd continue doing this if nobody was watching it at all.
Yeah, I think
so. But secondly, we want to entertain. We want to entertain you.
Yes,
we want to entertain you. So if there's something that we can do that you would find entertaining, then let us know. Because the worst thing we're going to do is say that's not what direction we're going, and we don't want to do that. Or it might be a thing of, yeah, that might be fun to try.
And if we're so gracious enough, we'll give you credit.
Yeah, we'll give you a shout out.
Tune in next week when we hear about Dan becoming a Cub Scout and becoming a man.
Will Matt become a Boy Scout? Will Rob lose weight? Will Dr. Rock be able to go back on the radio? All this and more till next time on the DJB Productions Network.
So thanks for listening, everybody. We hope you had a great time.
Thank you so much for just being here. Glad we got the contract worked out.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. We'll see you after dark.
After dark.
Looks like the sun's coming up. Was that as good for you as it was for me? Join us next time for DJ's After Dark.